Don't let the expectations and opinions of other people affect your decisions. It's your life, not theirs. Do what matters most to you. Do what makes you feel alive and happy. Don't let the expectations and ideas of others limit who you are. If you let others tell you who you are living their reality, not yours. Roy T. Bennett.
Welcome to Point Black.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Point Black. I'm Camille Guthrie, and with me I have my co-host,
Tashika O'Shea.
And this is our first episode. We posted our introduction. You might want to take a listen to that, and that will give you a full understanding of what it is that we're doing here. But for today's episode, we are going to just give you guys a chance to know a little more about who we are, why we're here, and what our aim and goal for this podcast is. Tash, is there anything you want to say to the people?
Hi, people. I mean, I still can't believe that this is really episode 1, if I'm being honest. I felt like there was a lot of trial and error and learning as we go, and like to finally say, this is episode 1, we're live, we're talking to the people. It feels really
surreal.
Yes, it's really surreal. But like you said, we aptly titled this episode, But Who Are You? Because I think that our listeners really want to know who we are, get to know us better so they can decide whether or not, our vibe is their vibe and this is something that they want to actually journey along with us on. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm hoping to get to know our listeners well as time progresses, and I hope they want to do this.
Yeah, and then in getting to know us, because we plan to be very real, very raw, very vulnerable here. And so we want to be able to allow people to have a chance to get to know who we are, because people don't want to be vulnerable with people they don't know, right? So
exactly. The first step in that direction is actually building that trust through, sharing parts of our journey, sharing who we are, what our values are, what we find important. Hopefully you can connect with us on that level.
And to do that, we have these 21 questions. Hopefully we can get through all of them. So we're going to take turn asking them randomly. And hopefully by the time we're done, you guys would have known a little more about us, and you will choose to tune in next Friday. We put our new episodes every Friday at 11 a.m. Do you want to take it away?
Sure. So, I mean, it's the listeners learning about us, but it's also us learning about each other. Mm-hmm. Because even though we're doing this together, it's almost like by happenstance that it's happening. So we've known each other for a bit, but this is our first project actually working together. So I think it's necessary maybe to tell them a little bit about how we met and how we got to this point.
Can I tell us something, Tash?
What?
Can I tell you something? I don't even remember how we met. I know we met in university, but I don't remember the details of it.
So I definitely don't remember the details either. I mean, it's been what? Maybe
years. Don't age us now. Don't age us now.
It's been a while, but we definitely met through our university experience. We both studied communication, so we were in the same department, and I'm guessing we probably had a lot of the same courses,
yes,
or maybe a lot of the same friends. And we definitely hung out in the department because as communication studies major, it's just what we do.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm assuming that's how the connection happened.
Just want to say we went to the one and only Northern Caribbean University in Manchester, Mandeville, Manchester in Jamaica.
Manchester, Mandeville. Everybody who lives in Manchester or Mandeville, we apologize.
So that's the story of how we met. The details are a little bit fuzzy now, but hopefully, maybe at some point we'll get to know that. And maybe that's not even important now. The important thing is that we've met.
So we reconnected probably, I want to say maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Yeah, on and off. So we both migrated to Canada. So we live in Toronto now. And I want to say you probably came here a year before me.
I came in 2014.
Oh, so we came the same year. Okay. So I came in 2014 as well. And I mean, of course, you realize that, oh, somebody from Jamaica is here, you connect, or somebody from even closer, the same university is here. So we connect. And that's how we kind of merged our existence.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's the brief version of how we met. So fast forward to it's now 2020. What are we doing with ourselves now? In the past, we both did communications.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm definitely not in communications anymore. So I made the switch to human rights and social justice. And you are still practicing, yes?
I still am. So, as Tash mentioned, my first degree is in mass communication. Came here to do a postgrad and I did corporate communication because I wanted to stay in communication, but I didn't want to do a postgrad in the same thing. But halfway through the program, I was like, I'm not sure this is for me. Loved it, learned so many new things. And then I went and I did project management after, and I liked it, but I was still yearning for media. And so I went back into media. I currently serve as the news manager and executive producer at G987 FM. That's a radio station here in Toronto. It's the only Black-owned and operated commercial station in Canada.
All right. I hope they pay me for this commercial spot that you just put out there. I am a bum.
What is that?
That is what I do. I am a bum. But no, that's not true. I think I'm back and forth, or I was back and forth between what I really wanted to do for a really long time. I started in communications and I loved it, but I think I loved it for the wrong reasons. I started because I was a homebody and I thought communications would give me the opportunity to go places, to meet people. And I was like, oh yeah, great. But a part of being a homebody is also the fact that I'm super shy and I'm super reserved. So, speaking in public and interviewing people and, being on the spot and witty, I'm like, that's a lot of pressure.
Wow.
My social anxiety would kill me. So I said, okay, maybe this is not for me. And then I sat for a bit, tried to figure out what my next passions were. And ever since I can remember, I've always had a love for helping others, specifically youth or children. And so I decided to make the switch after moving to Canada to do social work. So I did social work for, I want to say, 2 years, working specifically with at-risk youth in the Black community through employment counseling. And after that, again, it grew a bit monotonous for me. And I decided that, okay, I needed a little bit more of a challenge. And so now I'm pursuing human rights and social justice with the hopes of doing Black girls and women empowerment after this.
That's awesome. It's funny that you said you did communication, but you found like it wasn't your thing. Like I stumbled up on it. I just wanted to be a detective. That's all I wanted to do. Outside of the fact that I wanted to get married at 18 and have kids. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And my mom was like, no, have some ambition. That's not going to work now. I wanted to be a detective because I'm very fast, very nosy. But because I didn't meet the height requirement, which was so silly, I was too short to become a police. And I was saddened by that. So I tried communications because I'm like, okay, can't be a detective. Let me be an investigative journalist. And so that's how I stumbled up on that. I actually went to NCU to do a major in Spanish. And then I'm like, no, let me try this communication thing. And it has worked out.
Awesome. That's great. I mean, and that's how it is sometimes. You have to try a few things, see what you actually really enjoy, and then make a decision Because going into university, I really had no exposure prior to that. There was nothing that equipped me with enough knowledge to choose a career path at. I started NCU at 15. I had no idea what I was
Yep.
doing. It was just like, okay, the next logical step, or is high school is done, you move on to university. So I was just like, let me choose communication. Why not? And about a year into the degree, I knew it wasn't for me, and I wanted to switch then to social work, but sad to say, my parents were not very supportive of the switch, mainly because of the financial burden
Yeah.
that comes with taking a year into your degree. But, had I done that, I think I'd have been a lot further along now, because that's 4 years that I spent doing something that eventually I had to make a switch from anyway to pursue what I wanted to switch into in the first
Yeah.
place. And to be honest, I'm still not there yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. And I think we need to make it okay to not know.
Yeah.
There is no rule that says that you have to have it all figured out by X age or Y age. Like, life itself is dynamic. It's always changing. You're always changing as a person. So your passions change as you change.
So we're moving on to our next question. What do
Mm-hmm.
we value? What do you value?
I value togetherness. I value feeling and giving other persons the opportunity to feel loved and included. For
For me,
you?
I think it would be authenticity. Just
Mm,
not just for me being real, but allowing people to be real too. So creating that space where people don't feel like
mm-hmm,
they're judged, or they have to match up to some. Just being able to be who you are, and who you are may
mm-hmm.
change. But at the same time, I need
Right?
to be also able to allow you the space and time to change and develop. Which brings us
Mm.
to our next question, Tash.
So, in hindsight, what's one thing that you would change if you could?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't
Hmm.
know.
I definitely know that there are things that I've done that I am not necessarily proud of. Would I necessarily change that? I don't know. Because I feel like those experiences definitely
Mm-hmm.
created me, like through introspection, through, a lot of self-reflection. I've become this version of myself. And I don't know that without those experiences that I would be this
That's true.
person.
But then I was a child and I wouldn't want to put that burden on myself. I think I would have appreciated
Mm,
the time I spent with my dad, because my dad died when I was pretty early. So I would have appreciated the time I spent with him.
mm,
But then you never know what's going to happen
mhm,
tomorrow. And I was young. I was like, what, 9, 10? Even though I was a smart child and advanced for whatever, but I was still a child. And so I feel like if
mhm.
I were to say that that's the one thing I change, that would be me putting undue burden on myself. So I can't think of a particular thing right now, to be honest.
Okay, interesting. And I mean, at that age, I don't even, well, you said you were advanced for your age, but I don't know that death would necessarily be something that you'd be thinking about either way.
Exactly. And you remember the last time we spoke
Mm-hmm.
about fear, and I said
Mm-hmm.
my biggest fear was
Mm-hmm.
dying? Maybe it stemmed out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it
That
stemmed
is
out of that. And just
true.
as you said that, I remember. I'm like, maybe.
That is true. You see, that's how we make these
Yes.
connections by, talking and sharing, because sometimes you overlook these things when you're the person with the
Mm-hmm.
experience, but connecting with somebody else, they can show you a different
Right.
perspective, right? Speaking of
Mm-hmm.
parents, what's one thing that you think they should stop teaching their children?
I think this is really random, and I've thought of it about it a million times. But I think they should stop teaching their children to pray, or how to pray. How to pray.
Hmm.
And I say that because when I was growing up, I was taught how to pray, not just to go pray or go talk to God. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, what that did was, like, for years, all I did was recite to God. I did not learn to pray until I was much
Mm-hmm.
older, when I realized like this was not like a recital. This is a relationship. You're talking to somebody. And so for me, I think they shouldn't tell them
Right.
how to pray, and just don't make it so formal. Let them know that you are going to have a conversation. So like now with my nephews, I don't ask him
Mm-hmm.
if he prayed. I'm like, have you spoken to God today? And so that for him makes it a little
Mm,
more real. And it's just a random thing, but yeah, that's
right.
what I think they should stop doing.
I think that's a good one actually, because to date, I still don't know that. Like sometimes when I do
Mm-hmm.
pray, I still question whether or not I'm doing it correctly because there are so many boundaries put around what it's
Right.
supposed to be that I get so caught up thinking that, oh, um, my eyes aren't closed, or oh, I'm not kneeling, or oh, my hands aren't clasped, or, like all these little technicalities where it really doesn't matter in the grand
Right.
scheme of things. For me, I was going to say that parents should probably stop teaching their children to be
Mm.
quiet. Like, it hurts my soul. And it probably hurts me so much because I grew up learning to be quiet, and I've seen or experienced how damaging that can be
Mm-hmm.
as an adult. And it goes back to what you were saying earlier about, being outspoken and sharing your thoughts and sharing your opinions with people. And because I never had that opportunity, I didn't get to build that capacity
Mm-hmm.
growing up by, sharing my opinions, by disagreeing with my parents. Because disagreement doesn't necessarily mean
No.
being rude. And I think we need to like create that differentiation and allow children to share their thoughts, to share their opinions, to share their feelings, and to validate those feelings when they're shared.
Oh, right. We're just randomly picking these questions because we did not think
Yeah.
about these questions beforehand. We just selected some questions and left them until now.
All right, so this is an interesting one, I think. What do most people think about you that is absolutely
Oh my
not true?
goodness. Ooh.
Well, I'm only going to share one, like in the
Right.
interest of time. A lot of people see me and they think that I'm unapproachable. And I'm unapproachable because I am creme de la creme, for lack of a
Mm-hmm.
better expression. People judge me as being, Miss Prim and Proper, Miss Highty Tighty, Miss Can't Crush Egg,
Mm-hmm.
Can't Mash Ants. That's the
Mm-hmm.
Jamaican way, yeah. And I think my personal assessment, and once persons actually come into my circle and they get to know me, they realize that I'm really one of the most down to earth persons that they could ever connect with.
Tash?
But for some reason, I don't give off that aura. Persons judge me and they think, not
Tash?
her.
That is my
But,
story
mm-hmm.
every single
Oh,
time.
yeah?
Two of my
Hmm.
friends now came to me the other day when I started this work, and they were like, when you came in the day, we were like, okay, we're not going to get along with this one. This one is all about business. And even today they still tell me that I'm stush. And I'm like, I'm not stush.
Yes.
But my best friend is Ruth Ann. She and I would be there and people would approach her
Mm-hmm.
time and time again, and they'd never approach me because they thought I was unapproachable because I don't walk around with a
Mm.
smile on my face. And I'm like, really?
I know, like, I really don't see what they're seeing. Sometimes I wish I could like have an outer body experience and just like look at myself and see what they're seeing, because honestly, I feel like they're doing me a huge
But yeah.
disservice to the point where I almost don't want to have that presence. Because I understand and I will accept that there is a bit of a commanding presence to me when I
Mm-hmm.
walk in a room. And I know that can be intimidating. But because,
You should be judged for it.
like,
And if you're going into a room, you should be able to you should be
exactly,
allowed to go in and take up whatever space you need to take up. So if you're going to just judge me based on
agreed.
that, and so like no, I'm like, you know what? I'm over it. If you think that
Mm,
by just seeing me one time or two times or whatever, and you've never spoken to me, then you're a loss.
mhm. We have to be comfortable, like you said,
Yeah.
being our
Mm-hmm.
authentic selves, right?
Absolutely. I'm
And
gonna
I
pass
think.
that one as my one of mine too. So we just leave it as that. What are two things you should know
Mm-hmm.
how to do but you don't? And what is something you've done that you wish you
Ooh.
could undo? I'm a little between the two, so maybe you can take one and I'll take the other one.
So I'll go with the two things I should
Mm-hmm.
know how to do. So the first is, as someone who grew up in the Caribbean, grew up in Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
an island, I really, after 20 X, Y, and Z years of living there, I really should
Oh,
know how to swim. I feel like it was
yes.
a rite of passage, and I didn't take it.
I
It's
can't help
sad.
it because I can't swim either.
It's sad.
So,
Okay, I am not alone. Imagine. Oh, thank you, Lord.
I'm just scared of water. I almost drowned about 3 times. The last time, like
Mm.
I saw the light, and I'm like, you know what? And so I'm a little scared of water. So that's one of the reasons that I should learn to swim, but I haven't.
So, in the interest of time, I'll stick to my one thing, and then you can do something that you've done that you wish you
Something
could
that I've
undo.
done that I wish I could undo. What is something that I should have done that I wish I could undo? I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
You can't tell me because it's
No, I
embarrassing,
just
or you like
no.
nothing comes to mind. Is it that you have something in mind but you don't want to share it, or nothing comes to
Something
mind?
comes to mind, but I'll skip over that one for now.
I feel like this is one of those things you're gonna take to your grave,
Probably.
Cam.
I
Why?
know. It's not that
Oh,
serious,
wow.
I promise you. Not that serious
It's
at
not?
all.
That's good. That's
Okay.
good. I feel better. Okay, so if you could live your life again with all the knowledge that you currently possess, what would you
I would
change?
change my career. I would
Yeah.
be like an awesome carpenter or a seamstress
Mm,
or something that you use your hands to, something creative. I would absolutely change my career without question.
I'm not sure if there's, well, I'm pretty sure that there's things I
Mm-hmm.
would change, but I don't know. There's nothing that I can pinpoint at this time. I think I'd probably not necessarily change a particular thing, but I'd tell myself to live a little more. Yeah, I don't think that I've allowed myself to really like have
Mm-hmm.
experiences. Been guided by so many
Girl,
rules my whole life that yeah. So there's one question that I want
okay.
to ask. I found it hilarious when I saw it on this list. And just for that mere purpose, I'm asking it. How useful would you be, Cam, in
I
a
would
zombie
be of
apocalypse?
absolutely no use. The first sighting of
No.
one, and I am done. I'm one of the most scared people you'll
Oh
ever
my.
find. I am scared
Are
of
you
everything, so
serious?
I am gone.
All right, so don't get stuck with Cam in pretty much any situation, not just a zombie apocalypse, like any situation. She's not the
No,
person
like you watch the
to be
movies
stuck
and
with.
you see like the white people, they're usually the ones going into these things, and you
Mm-hmm.
see how the black people are always running. I'm that black
Mm-hmm.
person. I am gone.
I think somewhat half and half. So if you need somebody to like run out and scavenge for food, scavenge for you need someone to go out
Yeah, get it out, get it out.
and get
Mhm.
food. Find supplies. I am not the one because I am slow and those zombies are gonna eat me alive, okay? But if you need someone to like, stay home, look after the people like on the property, make sure they're, planting a little garden here and they're being resourceful. I can
Oh,
be that person for you. Oh,
I'm gonna see them and I'm going to be like, I surrender all. Like I'm done.
I think this is actually our
Yeah, I
last
think so.
question.
If you had a warning label, I like that one. What would yours say?
For some reason, I'm thinking about all the labels in my head, and corrosive came to mind, but I'm really not corrosive. Is there a label that just says warning, or is there like warning and then there's like toxic or corrosive or explosive? I don't know. Like there's so many facets to me that it's hard. Like I'd have like 10 different things on there.
No.
I don't think there's one that could like sum me up.
I think mine would be, I mentioned this before, handle with care, because I have a tough exterior, but I'm really soft on the inside. And so because I have a tough exterior and I talk a good talk and stuff, people tend to think that I am cold or I am a little heartless, when in fact I am butter
on a hot day. I can definitely see the tough exterior, but the butter on a hot day, I would have never guessed that. I guess our relationship hasn't really put us in that situation where I'd see that side of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've only known this one side, the tough exterior side. But it's good to know that that side exists, because then it reminds me to be more mindful in my interaction with you, right? I'll be like, oh yeah, she can take it, and then you probably can't. So this is good.
Was that our final question?
So I know we said that was going to be our final question, but I saw this, are you a glass half full or half empty person? And I kind of want to hear that. I want to hear your answer for that. Because for me, it depends on the day, not necessarily the person or the situation, but the day. If it is gray skies and rain, I'm definitely a half empty person.
Mm-hmm.
If it is sunshine, then I'm a glass half full person. Whatever the weather is, if you're ever wondering, I wonder how Tashika is today, just look outside and yep, she's fine. Or yep, she's having a tough time. I predict like my mood changes with the weather. I'm being more deliberate now in trying to be a glass half full person, but there are days when it's really empty. I mean, like not even a drip of water is in the glass.
Empty.
It's empty, not even half empty, but empty. But I'm really trying to make like tangible steps in, a more positive direction, because I've heard this time and again that, how you think manifests your reality. Mm-hmm. And so I want to try to keep my thoughts positive, keep motivated, and then send out into the universe what I want and attract that, as opposed to kind of just haphazardly going with the weather. Mm-hmm. So fingers crossed on that one.
Okay. So for me, sometimes I don't have a glass at all, but when I do have a glass, sometimes
I don't have a glass.
Sometimes the glass isn't full. I can't even find the glass.
Oh my.
But when there is a glass, I tend to look at it as being half full or half empty based on who it is. So if it's kids and stuff like that, I tend to be very gentle with them. And so it's always half full. If it's adults who are going through a certain situation or something, I will try to find the positive in that. But in certain situations where you definitely have to just be real and honest, it's half empty. Because if something needs to be done, it needs to be done. And this is a situation as is. Now, after we've pointed that out, let's find some solution. So it's really based on who and the situation.
Yep. Okay, you're more action oriented.
Yeah.
Do something.
Let's do something about it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's our last and final question for today.
That is it. Hopefully our responses didn't shock you too much. And we'd actually love to hear your answers to these questions. So feel free to, drop them in the comments and let us know. And we'd love to hear back from you and interact with you on the upcoming episodes as well. So join us.
And if there are questions that you want to ask us, feel free to ask us. We may not answer all of them, but we will do our
Yeah.
best. We'll do our
We'll
best.
do our best. Yes, that's a good way of not putting the bar too high, but also making a commitment that we'll do our best.
Yeah, we'll do our best. Let's try to under promise and over deliver. So, yeah.
Definitely.
What are we doing next week, though? Let's tell the people what we're doing next week.
So next week, we're turning our attention to W.E.B. Du Bois and his idea of double consciousness. And what we want to do is explore its relationship to us as women. So if that's something that's of interest to you, and I'm pretty sure it will be, join us.
Yeah. So with that, I'm Kimberly Guthrie.
And I'm Tashika O'Shea. Stay true.